Man, I'm gonna tell y'all this, man. I've been watching this whole trial, and I didn't know towards the end that these folks' whole case, trafficking and all this type of shit, was based on custody. These folks literally tried to say this man took his girlfriend around the United States and other countries, and they called that trafficking, man. These folks literally put one of his ex-girlfriends on Jane Doe, what they just called her Maya. His ex-girlfriend put on the stand and thought she was going to get up that motherfucker and do what Cassidy did. But she got on that motherfucker and said, man, look, did it. I knew who he was when I met him. And when we first had our first encounter with someone else, she said she was thrilled by it, man. Said she was kind of excited. But she was hoping that it was the last time. But she said she knew about Diddy from years ago. And she chose to stay. She said she never seen Diddy ever hold anybody against their will. She said she watched Diddy pay a lot of motherfuckers to get what he want. But when y'all folks sit down and realize one thing, this whole case was to shame this man. Because all the things that we on here, Jaguar Wright and Cat Williams and all these other motherfucking so-called peeper toms in these freak-off parties said, we thought them folks were going to have midgets and shit fall up in court, and didn't none of that happen. These folks didn't have no co-conspirators that they named co-conspirators, even though, in my opinion, Cassidy should have been the motherfucking one sitting there, and Diddy should have been the motherfucker on the stand, because they proved that she done more senseless things than Diddy ever done. They broke it down that it was time that them folks talking about she was kidnapped. Diddy told her to stay away from him plenty of times, and them folks showed text messages where she was begging to come back, man. She was begging them folks to come back. Diddy all in different states and different cities, and she popping up in hotel rooms with his favorite escort, man. Tempting that man, trying to bait her way back into the household, man. And then she really won a lot because she ended up with $200 million out the situation, when if I was Diddy, I'd have waited after the trial, because you should have knew it was coming, man. But them folks tried to take a big bite out of Diddy, and I think them folks missed, man. I think they missed. And anyone that actually watched the trial, don't get all the things that people say about the freak-offs in your mind, and the sick thing that Jaguar Wright and Cat Williams and Big Gene and all them other people said, because that's fictional. Because if any of them things were actual and factual, they would have Big Gene ass on that stand. They would have Jaguar Wright on that stand. They would have marched more people in there than they did and put them on that stand. They didn't have the moves, the so-called moves that was moving the things for P. Diddy on that stand. They had two ex-girlfriends, one bitter, that was just a freak. But all of them folks were consensual, man. And now the jury on came back, but they can't come back with the racketeering conspiracy. And the reason why is people who don't understand is them folks charge you with conspiracy. Conspiracy more easier to convict you than the actual charge that you committed. But to read these other 2 to 3, 4, 5 counts, them is all Cassidy and his ex-girlfriend. Ain't none of them nothing no more, nothing no less. Ain't no children involved. Ain't no other people involved. Them is his ex-girlfriends, man. One that got on the stand and said none of the shit that these folks is saying is true. The other one got on the stand and admitted that she was doing more promoting prostitution than he ever done. So when you got to boil down to it, I think when the folks come back, they going to come back with not guilty on all 5 counts. They just basing the first count on that's a count that carries the life sentence. The rest of them don't carry a number like 5 to 10.